There's a merciless truth approximately cash that the majority never examine till it's too overdue. Poverty isn't about what you earn, however, about what you don't know. You may work harder than everyone else, sweat day and night, but if you forget about the guidelines of wealth, you may stay broke. That's the trap tens of millions fall into, and Machiavelli would tell you it is no twist of fate. The sport of cash is built for the sharp, the disciplined, and the strategic. The relaxation they're pawns for all time running for scraps. So what separates those who upward thrust from the ones who continue to be caught? It is now not good fortune. It is now not even raw skills. It's regulations, harsh, bloodless guidelines that in no way trade. Destroy them, and also you pay the charge. Comply with them, and the arena bends differently for you. Nowadays, we are diving into Machiavelli's Guide to 10 Regulations of Elite Wealth. Guidelines so brutal, so unapologetically real, that most of the people could, as a substitute, forget about them and stay secure in their illusions. But ignoring them, that's how you stay broke forever. Rule 1. Wealth starts of evolved inside the thoughts, no longer the wallet. Machiavelli knew that power begins with notion. Cash is not any unique. The negative suppose money is about survival, earning just sufficient to cowl payments. The rich, they see money as a weapon, a tool to bend the sector. If you treat money like meals you eat, you'll constantly be hungry. If you deal with it like a soldier in your army, it multiplies, fights for you, and conquers greater. Most of the people chase small gains, a raise at work, a tiny side hustle, a short bargain. They never forestall to invite, how do I make money paintings for me even as I sleep? That's the difference. Terrible minds think in terms of hours. Wealthy minds suppose in phrases of structures. In case you ignore this, you may live broke due to the fact your time will continually run out. However, cash, when multiplied, in no way sleeps. Rule 2. Forestall begging for permission. Look around. Maximum broke people live on someone else's terms. They wait for MD to approve an increase, for the authorities to restore the economic system, for good fortune to bless them. Machiavelli might laugh at this weakness. Electricity is seized, not granted. Wealth follows the same law. In case you need someone else's permission to be triumphant, you may be chained forever. The elite don't ask, they devise. They don't watch for opportunities, they engineer them. Want to earn greater. Don't just complain about low wages. Build something of your own. Discover a skill to monetize. Make yourself too valuable to disregard. Every time you depend on every other man's approval, you hand him manage over your destiny, and control is the first basis of wealth. Rule 3. Master the artwork of sacrifice. Here's the part no person desires to listen. You cannot have it all, not at the beginning. The broke mind set is hooked on comfort. Nights out, new gadgets, countless enjoyment. The wealthy attitude, it sacrifices nowadays for energy the next day. Machiavelli wrote that rulers have to every so often give up what they desire to secure their throne. The identical applies to money. Each dollar you waste on impulse is a soldier lost. Every sacrifice you make, skipping pleasures, fending off waste, channeling that strength into investments, multiplies your army. It truly is why the broke stay broke. They're too afraid to feel pain. The wealthy, then again, embrace pain like a weapon. They delay gratification because they recognize the dinner party comes later and it comes bigger. Rule 4. Construct leverage, not exertions. Here's the dirty reality. Nobody receives wealthy trading time for cash all the time. The poor dangle to the concept of tough work like it's sacred. However, hard work on my own is a lure. Machiavelli might say, the prince does now not overcome with his own palms. He conquers with leverage, and leverage in wealth approach multiplying your efforts beyond your hours. Think about it. One character running 8 hours a day will never outpace a person who builds a machine that works 24/7. That may be a commercial enterprise and funding, a group, or even era. The broke face up to this concept. They are saying, I simply need to work tougher. However, harder would not seem richer. Smarter does. Forget about leverage and you will in no way escape the grind. Rule 5. Manage your narrative. Machiavelli taught that rulers live to tell the tale no longer just through power, however through belief. Money works the identical manner. Humans trust memories extra than numbers. If you look weak, determined, or chaotic, no person invests in you, nobody companions with you, and no one respects you. The broke frequently fail right here. They sabotage themselves by searching unreliable, constantly past due, always scrambling. They'll even make cash, but they can't keep it because no person sees them as trustworthy. The rich recognize branding. How others perceive you as forks. Your reputation is well worth greater than your profits. If people agree with you are equipped, disciplined, and sturdy, doors open. If people see you as careless, needy, or untrustworthy, each door slams close. You stay broke not due to the fact you don't have cash, however, because you don't manipulate your story. Rule 6. Recognize the sport is rigged. Here's a rule that stings. The gadget isn't honest. It by no means was. Machiavelli might smirk at anybody crying for equity due to the fact energy does not bend to fairness. It bends to people who understand the policies. The rich recognize taxes, legal guidelines, loopholes, networks. The poor don't even try and examine. They whinge as an alternative, and complaining that doesn't change the gadget. Approach does. You stay broke whilst you fight truth instead of getting to know it. The rich play the game with insider information, with networks that protect them, with legal guidelines that choose them. If you do not have a look at these regulations, in case you do not apprehend how the sport honestly works, you may usually be the one deciding to buy a person else's victory. Rule 7. In no way depend upon an unmarried supply. Dependence is weak point. Machiavelli warned rulers by no means to depend on others for their armies. The same is genuine for money. If every dollar you earn comes from one paycheck, you are one step far from collapse. Lose the job and you lose the whole thing. It truly is now not wealth. This is slavery. The elite recognize this. They build multiple flows, investments, corporations, assets that produce earnings in extraordinary approaches. That way, if one flow dries up, the others still waft. The broke forget about this rule and cling to task security, which doesn't exist. You may live broke in case you let one man, one corporation, or one marketplace determine your complete destiny. Rule 8. Keep away from the entice of countless intake. We stay in a global wherein human beings measure achievement by means of what they display, no longer what they personal. Costly motors, flashy garments, luxurious holidays, taken with appearances. Machiavelli would chuckle at this due to the fact he knew rulers who spend for display are rulers who soon lose strength. Real wealth is silent. Faux wealth is loud. The broke stay broke because they need to appearance rich earlier than they may be rich. They take loans to electrify acquaintances. They drown in credit card debt for a lifestyle which means not anything. The wealthy keep away from this trap. They do not chase consumption. They chase property. If it does not develop their strength, they don't waste cash on it. Forget about this and you will forever feed the phantasm even as ravenous your destiny. Rule 9. Research ruthless field. Wealth is not built in a week. And Machiavelli knew that ruling takes staying power, approach, and ruthless subject. The same applies here. The broke want shortcuts, get wealthy quick schemes, lottery tickets, miracle investments. They fail and then they give up. But wealth favors the disciplined, the ones who show up daily, stick to their plan, and face up to distractions. Field is not glamorous. However, it's the backbone of elite wealth. It's the quiet decisions, saving continually, investing regularly, constructing little by little, that compound into empires. Ignore subject and your cash will slip through your fingers irrespective of how much you are making. Rule 10. Electricity protects wealth. Subsequently, Machiavelli's maximum brutal lesson: wealth without strength is a goal. When you have cash but no have an effect on, stronger gamers will strip it from you. The rich do not simply construct riches. They build shields, criminal protections, alliances, political have an effect on. The poor suppose cash on my own is enough, but without power, wealth evaporates. A person will take it, trick you out of it, or bleed it dry. This is why Machiavelli's manual to wealth isn't always just about stacking coins. It is about building a castle round it. In case you ignore strength, you may usually be susceptible, and poverty will subsequently reclaim you. These are the 10 policies Machiavelli could hand down if he had been alive these days. Cold, harsh, unforgiving, but actual. Forget about them, and you will live broke regardless of how tough you work. Follow them, and you unlock a level of wealth and freedom that most people can best dream approximately. And this is most effective the beginning, because knowing the regulations is one element, however making use of them with precision is another. And that is wherein the authentic recreation of elite wealth starts of evolved. Permits pass deeper. Understanding the 10 policies is like seeing the map. However, you cannot triumph over a country with a map by myself. You want strategy, that is in which the general public fail. They nod, they agree, perhaps they even get stimulated. However, then they go proper return to the conduct that keep them broke. Machiavelli could name that weak spot of will. And weak point has no location inside the pursuit of wealth. So, permits damage these regulations down one at a time and see how they clearly play out inside the actual international. Rule 1. Wealth starts within the thoughts, not the wallet. Reflect on consideration on this. 2 human beings make the same amount of cash, say $50 0 a 12 months. One finally ends up broke, buried in debt. The opposite slowly builds savings, investments, and sooner or later freedom. What's the difference? Attitude. The broke mind treats money like water. It slips through their fingers. Use the second one it's earned. The rich thoughts treats cash like a seed. You don't eat every seed. You plant a few, water them, and watch them grow into timber that feed you for existence. Machiavelli's know-how tells us that belief shapes reality. In case you see money as scarce, you will continually act from worry and desperation. However, if you see cash as a weapon, something you could multiply and use, you prevent being a servant to it, and it will become your servant. It's why broke people purchase liabilities, matters that lose value, whilst the wealthy purchase belongings, things that make value. It's not magic, it's now not good fortune, it is attitude. Rule: forestall begging for permission. What number of humans do you already know who stay their whole lives waiting, watching for the boss to observe their work, watching for the economy to enhance, watching for the right time? That's slavery disguised as persistence. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler who waits for fortune is already defeated. The sector does not reward people who sit quietly. It rewards those who pass first. Take the example of a person working at a dead, give-up activity. The general public live hoping sooner or later the boss will finally sell them. It's permission-seeking. The Machiavellian method. Use the process as training floor. Benefit talents, then construct your own commercial enterprise or side hustle. You do not anticipate opportunity, you create it. Permission is a cage. Each day you wait, someone else is seizing what could have been yours. Rule 3. Grasp the art of sacrifice. This one cuts deep. The general public live broke because they may be unwilling to surrender what is killing them. They want Netflix each night, costly footwear, takeout food, new iPhones. They tell themselves they deserve it due to the fact they labored hard. But let me tell you the fact. The destiny doesn't care approximately what you deserve. Its simplest cares approximately what you construct. Machiavelli knew that rulers must from time to time give up pleasures to secure their throne. Wealth works the identical manner. Consider a person who earns $3,000 a month, however, spends $3,200. It is no longer just overspending. It truly is self-sabotage. Now evaluate them to the only who earns the identical, however, saves and invests 20% of it every month. 10 years later, who's free and who is still trapped? Sacrifice isn't always approximately dwelling poor. It is about delaying small pleasures so that you can declare bigger rewards. And the fact is, if you cannot manage yourself, the world will manage you. Rule 4. Construct leverage, no longer exertions. This might be the most important rule. You'll in no way get away poverty in case you simplest depend upon labor. Tough work is noble, however, it's also confined. There are simplest 24 hours in a day. Leverage multiplies you. This is how the elite win. They use gear, enterprise structures, money, humans, and now even era to do the paintings of loads at the same time as they attention on strategy. Look at billionaires. Do you think they paintings more difficult than a construction worker sweating 12 hours a day? No, they use leverage. They very own companies that rent hundreds, investments that compound, machines that never sleep. The broke grasp to working tougher, as it's all they recognize. However, the reality is, if you don't get away the hard work trap, you may grind until your frame breaks, after which you may be discarded. Wealth calls for leverage or you may live broke all the time. Rule 5. Manipulate your narrative. Here's a Machiavellian law. It doesn't rely best what you are. It matters what people believe you are. It is the strength of belief. Let's take 2 examples. One man shows up past due, attire sloppily, and constantly complains approximately cash. Some other man with the equal income suggests up sharp, speaks with self-assurance, and treats himself like a professional. Who do you observed people trust with possibilities? The wealthy do not just manipulate money, they control photo. They take into account that popularity opens doorways. A strong narrative builds credibility, draws allies, and repels enemies. If you forget about this rule, even in case you make money, it may not remaining. Humans may not consider you with bigger opportunities, you may be caught. Due to the fact wealth isn't always pretty much numbers, it is about influence. Rule 6. Understand the sport is rigged. This one hurts the most for the naive. The sector isn't always truthful. Taxes don't choose the worker. Legal guidelines don't prefer the terrible. Opportunities do not land within the laps of the clueless. Machiavelli stated the strong bend guidelines to their will while the weak whinge. The rich understand this. They rent accountants to find legal loopholes, attorneys to defend them, and advisors to shield them. The broke, they do nothing. They whine about equity while paying greater taxes than the rich in share. Allows be real, the machine isn't going to alternate for you. So, you need to learn to master it. Study money, examine legal guidelines, study techniques that the elite use. Due to the fact in case you don't, you may always play with the aid of regulations designed to hold you broke. Rule 7. In no way rely upon an unmarried supply. Dependence is weakness. An employee with one activity is continually at danger. Lose it and you lose the whole lot. That's now not balance. This is fragility. The rich construct more than one streams. Shares, real estate, groups, royalties, virtual earnings, distinct rivers feeding one ocean. If one dries up, the others keep flowing. Consider it. If you depend on one paycheck, you are basically letting one guy determine your fate. This is dangerous. Machiavelli would name that leaving your country undefended. Diversify your profits or you'll usually be one step far from smash. Rule 8. Avoid the entice of infinite consumption. Cutting edge society trains human beings to spend now, not build. Advertisements scream at you every 2D. Purchase this, upgrade that, treat yourself, and those obey. They equate fame with what they display as opposed to what they own. Machiavelli wrote that rulers who spend recklessly lose electricity quickly. The equal occurs with money. The broke buy liabilities to electrify others. The wealthy buy assets to protect themselves. Want an easy check? If your purchase would not make you more potent tomorrow, financially or strategically, it's intake. An excessive amount of it, and you may live broke regardless of how tons you earn. Rule 9. Analyze ruthless area. This is the unsexy reality. Wealth does not are available in weeks. It is available in decades. The poor lose consciousness speedy. They chase short wins, crypto pumps, lottery tickets, multi-level marketing scams. They get burned, give up, and repeat the cycle. The rich are distinct. They're constant. They make investments, construct time and again. They don't get distracted. They play the long game. Machiavelli would admire their discipline. Because just as a state is secured by way of partitions constructed brick by using brick, wealth is secured by using habits repeated day by day. Without subject, you cannot final, and without lasting, you cannot win. Rule 10. Strength protects wealth. The very last rule ties everything together. Money without strength is fragile. When you have wealth but no have an effect on, stronger forces will strip it from you. Think about lottery winners. They get tens of millions, but inside years they're broke. Why? No energy, no. How? No strategy. They have been given wealth, however no longer the energy to defend it. The rich don't simply construct riches. They construct shields, felony protections, networks, effect. They make sure no person can take what they have earned. Machiavelli would call this fortifying the dominion. And if you don't, your wealth will fall apart like sand inside the tide. So now you see, those aren't just regulations. They're legal guidelines of survival inside the international of money. Damage them, and the punishment is poverty. Comply with them, and also you begin to carve a direction towards wealth that lasts. But here's the capture. Understanding is not sufficient. All and sundry knows they should store. Everyone knows they must keep away from debt. Yet most people don't. Why? Due to the fact psychology chains them. Worry, comfort, impulse, laziness. It really is the real battlefield, the mind, and in case you cannot grasp it, no rule will save you. It is one factor to hear rules. It is some other issue to live them. It truly is in which the general public fail. They treat how like enjoyment in place of a weapon. Machiavelli never believed in ideas for his or her very own sake. He believed in movement, in the usage of information to bend the arena. And in case you want these wealth rules to work for you, you want to translate them into each day tactics. So take those laws of wealth and make them practical through a Machiavellian lens. Applying rule primary, wealth begins within the thoughts, no longer the wallet. Here's the way you put this into play. 1. Alternate your language. Prevent pronouncing, I cannot manage to pay for it. Begin announcing, how can I come up with the money for it? The first phrase kills creativity. The second one sparks it. Track your money. Most people are unaware of where their cash is going. A ruler would by no means run a state without facts. Why do you run your price range without knowing? 3. Reframe spending. Every greenback is a soldier. Ask, is this soldier going to battle for me, or is he death on a vain front? A Machiavellian knows the struggle of wealth starts inside the mind. If you see cash as a tool, your conduct changes. If you see it as something to eat, you'll live broke. Applying Rule 2. Forestall begging for permission to stay this rule. Stop waiting for possibilities. If you need to enhance, First, strive developing value your boss can't ignore. If he nevertheless does not give it, use that revel in to sell your abilities someplace else. Build aspect leverage. Start a side hustle, even small, freelancing, online promoting, digital merchandise, something it is. Why? Because it breaks dependence on one grasp. Undertake the capture first, ask later mind, set. Machiavelli, prominent, formidable rulers who acted decisively. Observe that with the aid of taking initiative. Don't look forward to someone to select you, you pick out yourself. Ready is a poverty habit, growing is a wealth dependency. Making use of Rule 3, master the artwork of sacrifice. Right, here's the method. Make your sacrifices visible. Cut one indulgence. It could be each day coffee runs, past due night streaming, or limitless buying. Update that money within funding, despite the fact that's small. Set regulations for yourself. As an example, in no way purchase whatever above $100 without ready 48 hours. That postpone kills impulse. Put money into destiny assets instead of gift delight. Rather of buying a $300 pair of shoes, buy $300 in stock or gadget for your commercial enterprise. Machiavelli wrote that leaders win with the aid of giving up small matters to comfy extra things. Sacrifice is the change that builds empires. Making use of Rule 4, build leverage, no longer labor. This is the rule that separates the rich from the completely caught. To use it, become aware of leverage on your existence. What can you scale? An ability, a product, a device, use generation, automations, software, AI, all are leverage. They allow one person do the work of 10. Construct something that grows without you. Actual property, a YouTube channel, a course, an internet save. As soon as constructed, they preserve operating even whilst you don't. Exertions trades hours for dollars. Leverage trades systems for freedom. That is why a CEO earns heaps at the same time as working less than a laborer, because he's strength of will's leverage. Applying Rule 5, control your narrative. Your popularity is wealth. Self-discipline it. Guard your word. Do not make promises you cannot maintain. Machiavelli wrote that